Hi, I'm Amber. May 29th will be my 30th birthday. I know, by YouTube standards that makes me ancient. When I was 19 and 30 seemed like such a far off age, I made a list of things to do before I turned 30. So, this is the list. And I thought it might be fun to take a look at this list and talk through the different items, see which ones I managed to do and which ones I didn't do. The first item on the list is finish reading When Dad Killed Mom. Now this right here is the book When Dad Killed Mom by Julius Lester. My sister and our friend Destiny, we started reading this when we were kids, and I don't even know how many times we started reading it, so we got a good chunk of the way into there, but we would read like a bunch of chapters, and then we'd lose track of the book and forget about it, and then we'd find it again and we'd start over again from the beginning. And we never got through the book. If I really wanted to, I'm filming this video on May 27th, so I could sit down, read through the book, and finish it in time. But I probably will not do that. It was always more of a thing to do together. It was kind of a fun thing that we did as a group, and I'm sure it's a great book, but it feels kind of wrong to read it on my own when it's something we've always done as a group. So that is an item that I will probably not be checking off my list. Item number 2, publish a book, and I have in parentheses, novel, poetry collection, or whatever else. Now I was going to say that I haven't done this one, but then Brian pointed out that I wrote a master's thesis and also a PhD dissertation. So my master's thesis is available electronically through the University of Maine. It's published by them in that sense. And my dissertation will be soon. So the last time I checked UMaine's website, it wasn't up there yet, but it has been accepted by the graduate school. And so sometime soon, if you go to the University of Maine's library's website, so Folklore Library, you'll be able to look for Amber Hathaway and find my doctoral dissertation. So I am not a famous author like I wanted to be when I was 19, but I do have a couple of kind of published books. Item number 3, get married. Now this is an interesting one. When I was a teenager, I thought that the greatest thing I could do with my life would be find the right person for me and get married. And that was kind of like my big goal, dream. I mean, I had my other goals, like I wanted to be a famous novelist and all that sort of stuff, but I also really wanted to get married. I ended up making a second list, or starting a second list, almost a year after I made the first one, and I have it in here somewhere as well, where I took some of the same big items on the first list and I got rid of the marriage one. And I realized while getting married can be cool for a lot of people, it wasn't necessarily something that should be on my priority list. However, I did end up getting married before I turned 30, so I can check that off my list. Literally a week before I turned 30. So I can check that off, but also if I hadn't checked it off, it would be on the kind of the same level of, oh, I didn't finish that book. That it's not like getting married is a huge accomplishment. Like writing a book, that takes a lot of effort. And yes, maintaining relationships can take effort too. Although, honestly, I feel like Brian and I, we just work really well together and it just kind of flows naturally. And so, do I invest things into the relationship? Yes, but it doesn't really feel like work in the way that writing a book feels like work or earning a degree. Which brings us to item number 4, get a PhD. And I can check that one off. Now, I don't have the piece of paper from the University of Maine yet. I think they mail the diplomas out in July or August or something. But I did successfully defend my dissertation, and I submitted all the paperwork as far as I'm aware, so I should be getting that piece of paper in the mail. Item number 5, wear my black and white polka dotted bikini from Victoria's Secret Swimming. And this one I have checked right on the paper, and I wrote a note next to it that says Sarah's Pool Party, June 30th, 2010. So I have this problem of getting cute swimsuits and then not actually going swimming. My mom got me this black and white polka dot bikini for my birthday. I think it was my 18th birthday. I'm not 100% sure, but 18th or 19th, one or the other. And so I had this really cute bikini that I had asked her for, and it was great, and I didn't wear it. I still have that bikini. The white polka dots are no longer so white because it's just been sitting, in my wardrobe for a decade. I still have it, and I probably have worn it twice. I can think of 2 occasions I wore it to that pool party, and I also wore it on an Upward Bound camping trip. And I think that's about it. But I do get to check that item off my list. Item number 6, have a successful career. I have had successful jobs. I would not say I have a successful career though. So I've been a grad student for, the better part of a decade. First in the math master's program, and then later in the physics PhD program. So I spent, 6 years working as a teaching assistant. I feel especially these last couple of years where I've had the ability to teach my own classes a little bit. I've really been able to grow as an instructor and build rapport with my students. And so, I tend to get a lot of positive feedback from my students. So I feel like I've had successful jobs, but is that going to be a career? Probably not. I have a feeling that COVID is going to be reducing the number of career opportunities available in higher education. I would say give this one a half check. Like, I've definitely had successful jobs that I've really loved. Again, especially teaching Physics 111, 112, that was a fantastic experience. Best group of students you could have asked for. Honestly, so great. And I would love to keep doing that. But will the opportunity be available to keep doing that? Probably not. So these next few items, these are good ones. Good as in easy to check off. So if you know me, you may know that I love shoes. I don't even know. I probably, it's under 100 pairs, but I can't even estimate. Like, is it 50 pairs? Is it 70 pairs? Is it maybe even less than I'm thinking? I don't know, because I have so many pairs of shoes. And I love high heels in particular. And so when I was in high school, I got the idea that I wanted a shoe rainbow. So these next 3 items are related to getting the missing colors of my rainbow. So I have get blue high heels as item number 7. And you are looking at one of those blue high heels. So I'm pretty sure this is the exact pair that I got for part of my shoe rainbow. I've barely worn it because as much as I love high heels, don't have a lot of opportunities to wear them. I have actually been wearing them a little bit for photo shoots. I've been trying to take pictures of my daily outfits and pairing them with cute looks, but I don't actually wear them around very much because where are you gonna wear high heels if you're me? Pretty much save them for occasions that require fancy dress, and that's basically never in my life. My wedding. That's the last time I wore high heels, which that was only a week ago, but before that I couldn't even tell you when I wore high heels for anything other than a picture. Maybe New Year's. I did wear them on New Year's, I think. Not that we went anywhere for New Year's, we were just in our house. But I dressed up cute for New Year's, so I'll put them on for New Year's. Yeah. Item number 8, get orange heels. Now these ones are kind of a cheat because they are technically wedges, but I'm gonna say that they count. My idea in my head was just to have a rainbow of shoes, more or less, and by high heels I just meant fancier than like sneakers. So even though they're wedges, I'm still gonna count them. Item number 9, get yellow high heels. Yellow high heels. Item 10, go to a concert. This one I cannot check off. I did go to like the Rick Charette concerts at the Bangor Library. If you haven't heard of Rick Charette, he does children's songs. And so he would occasionally come to the Bangor Library and do songs. So I went to like those concerts, but I haven't been to like a real concert. So that one's probably a no. Item number 11, get published again, even if it's not a book. Now, I think between my master's thesis and my doctoral dissertation, I can count those as my 2 publications and we're good. I am still working on my novel, which we'll get to in a moment, but I do have plans of publishing other things, hopefully at some point in time in the future. But I think with those 2 documents, I've satisfied my requirement that I publish 2 things. Okay, Aunt, let's not be on my foot anymore. Oh, you're an inchworm. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, let me show you to the camera. Look at this little inchworm. I don't know if you can see it, but it's so cute. It's so fuzzy. It was just crawling on my foot, and I love it. I gotta go put it outside though, so I'll be back. But isn't it adorable? Item number 12. Make Dean's List as many times as possible. This list is weird because I tried to pick things that like I thought I could do and also have things that were reaches but not make them too much of a reach, which why I thought making Dean's List would be a reach when I got a full ride to UMaine for doing really well in high school. I don't know. But I kept the language vague on purpose. So that if I made Dean's List only 7 times, I could be like, well, maybe that was all I could do. Now, if any of you are going to college currently, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that I was extremely privileged in that I didn't have to pay for my school. So I didn't have to get a job. I was able to do my entire university education without getting a job. My school was 1 town over from my house, so I could live at home. And so I didn't have a lot of the concerns that many of you do. So if you're not getting straight A's, that's okay. That's fine. I mean, not that I even get straight A's, but if you're not making Dean's List, that's not something to feel bad about. I've put a lot of pressure on myself historically, and I kind of continue to do this to do really well at school and to really excel and achieve. And I've measured my worth in terms of those kind of arbitrary metrics because most people, like once you graduated from college or high school or whatever, they're not going to sit down and look at your GPA and be like, okay, a degree you get with all A's is in a lot of ways the same as a degree you get with all C's. So, I mean, yes, I can put I graduated summa cum laude on my resume and like that may influence some people, but it's perfectly fine, especially, if you have other obligations like you have to work or you have family responsibilities or any of those sort of things. So, it's okay not to be getting, Dean's List every semester, and I don't want you feeling bad because that was a thing that I did. I was in a position that not a lot of college students are. So I had a full ride to UMaine based on my high school performance, but I didn't have to work in high school either. Because while we weren't rich, I was a reduced price lunch kid, I had all my needs met. And so I was able to just focus on my schoolwork, and that's something most people don't have. Item number 13, get a bachelor's degree or 2. I just got the 1. Now I had a double major and double minor, but I did not have enough credits for a double degree. I was I think 9 credits shy. I graduated with 141 credits, and you needed 150 to get the double degree. So I have a single degree. There's a lot that goes with it, but it's just the 1. Item number 14, fill a sketchbook with drawings. Now, in a very technical sense, I have not done this, and I was going to say that I didn't do this, but Brian pointed out to me, he made a really good point, that I actually do a lot of drawing in artwork, just not in a sketchbook. So I make templates and patterns for a lot of my crafts. I do my nail art, which is like doing art on a very, very tiny canvas. So there is a lot of art that I do, it just doesn't all go into a sketchbook. However, I do want to show you my high school sketchbook. So this right here is my high school sketchbook, and this is the one that I was intending on filling with artwork. The first drawings are unfortunately undated, but I probably was about 17 years old when I started this. I think I got it for my 17th birthday. And so here is our very first page. And you can see it's spooky, which is not surprising knowing me. And I think I was trying to emulate the kind of art you see in scary stories to tell in the dark. I loved that artwork. I still do. It is absolutely gorgeous. And so I have kind of like what I call shadow figures, the shadow person and a shadow caterpillar. And then some other just kind of like creepy stuff. And so I think I was just inspired by horror movies and books that I loved. The 217 is for The Shining, because in the book and in the made-for-TV miniseries, the door room is room 217. And so a lot of these early ones are just kind of like spooky things. This is like a blood splatter with eyes. Now this one is a legend, and if you're not from Maine, there's a good chance you haven't heard it. So in Bucksport, which is a town in Maine, there's the cemetery, and inside the cemetery there is a tombstone for Colonel Jonathan Buck. And if you look at that tombstone, you can see the image of a foot on it. And so this was a sketch I did of the tombstone with a foot. It was kind of like a spooky legend thing. There are a bunch of different variations on the legend, but basically the idea is that a witch put a curse on his grave And the reason why it's a foot like varies from one legend to the next, but basically he somehow had a witch wrongfully killed and she put a curse on his grave, and so now there's a permanent foot and the marker was replaced and there still was the foot. That's how the story goes. So this is a picture of a witch putting a curse on his grave. And then this is a drawing I did that predates the sketchbook, and I think it was the inspiration for the first page in the sketchbook. And then I tried to do a portrait of myself. Now, as you can see, I'm not a portrait artist. I am not very good at, I would say, being able to translate what I see in front of me onto paper dimension-wise. Like, I'm really bad at perception and dimensions. I am great if I start by tracing things. Like, if I trace something first to get the general outline, then I can do okay. But if I just look at something and try to draw it, it's off in ways that are a little bit disconcerting, I think. So that was my attempt at drawing me. And then here's one of my favorites. These are the monster vegetables. I don't remember what prompted it. I think it has something to do with my sister. I think I made her a poster of these or something like that, so I photocopied this and like colored them in for her. But those are my monster vegetables. There's one of the few ones that's in color in there. I took a picture of my feet. One with one of my favorite high heels on, one with a sneaker. And then this last one is not taped in or anything. This one is one that I started out by tracing the outline of, and then I went in with my ruler and stuff and made it look nicer. So this is 1428 Elm, the original Nightmare on Elm Street house in that first movie. I drew this as part of my Horror Pocket Pals series. So if you're not familiar with my Horror Pocket Pals, and you love horror, I would recommend it. That one was for the Nightmare on Elm Street playset, which I have right here. So you can see there's a colored in version of that sketch. So I photocopied the sketch, colored it in, added some details. Like on the original one, I forgot to write the house number, and that's kind of crucial. But that's what that sketch was used for Horror Pocket Pals. All right, now we get to the novel. Write a full-length novel. And I have next to this, rough draft completed 8/21/09, so August 21st, 2009. So back in 2009, inside the month of August, like I believe it was less than a month, and I believe it was all in August, but maybe I started at the end of July, I don't remember for sure. I wrote a draft of a novel. Now it was like, I think 50,000 words on the nose, and it was not very good in a lot of ways, but I wrote a draft of a novel. That's the novel I'm talking about here. It has gone through so many revisions, so I've ended up breaking up into two because there were a lot of really good ideas in there, more than what, when I started fleshing it out, more than what would work for one book. And so that's the novel that I am still currently working on, is that first one. I went through after I finished my master's thesis and overhauled it, and I thought I was done, but then I just got some feedback from other people and I started thinking about it, and I was like, this needs more work. And unfortunately, working on a PhD doesn't give a lot of time for that, but I've been slowly over time working on editing that, getting it up to a shape that I'm comfortable with. And so I have the first 2/3 of the book pretty well polished. Got that last third I'm still working on. And then of course the second book really needs a lot of work. But it just said to write a full-length novel. I wrote it. Item 16. Get a driver's license. That's a good one. I still do not have my driver's license. Now, we were supposed to work on that last summer, but Brian had to finish his dissertation real quick, so his advisor was like, hey, you want to defend your dissertation before I'm up for tenure? And he's like, okay, we'll do that. So we didn't have time then. And so, still don't know how to drive. Maybe one of these days I'll learn. So on the whole, I'd say I was moderately successful with the original list. Now, I wanted to briefly share with you my revised list. This list I started on March 13th, 2010, so I would have still been 19 then. And I wrote at the top, note, this list supersedes the previous list. This one has only 4 items. It was supposed to have more, but I never got around to adding more. And I think the main reason why I wrote this list was to take the marriage idea off of it, because I realized, again, that aspiring to marriage, like, while marriage can be a great thing, I'm very happy with the partner that I have, you know, and I think we work really well together. It's not necessarily like getting married before you're 30 doesn't really mean anything. In fact, doing any of these things before you're 30 it's not important when you do them. But marriage was one of those things that it's not necessarily important, period. Like, it can be important and meaningful to you as an individual, but it's not really something that I should be pressuring myself into or measuring my worth by. Now, the irony is that Brian and I got together very shortly after I wrote this list, so our first date was May 2nd, 2010, so less than 2 months after my new list. And this new list has only 4 items, like I said. 1, get a bachelor's degree or 2. I got the 1. 2, get a master's degree. Got that. 3, get a PhD. Got that. And 4, get published. Poem, journal article, whatever. I think my master's thesis and or my dissertation would fulfill that criterion. So this list I passed with flying colors, and since it supersedes the previous list, I guess I passed my list of things to do before I turn 30 with flying colors. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love it if you gave me a like or let me know in the comments. Did you have a list of things to do before some arbitrary age? If so, what was on your list? Thanks for watching and have a great day.